talking about 2014 here, right? This is when they annexed Crimea and put a
Yeah,
Russian puppet involved. Yeah.
it's well, no, he's saying U.S. put a U.S. puppet in the Ukraine in 2014.
In 2014?
Yeah.
Then why did he run away to Moscow?
No, 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 no. They're saying Zelensky is the U.S. puppet that U.S. is installed in the Ukraine.
In 2014.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on a second. Is Zelensky the guy that ran off to Moscow?
No, that
Okay.
was Yanukovych.
Yanukovych. When did
Right.
Yanukovych come into play?
2014 is when he ran away to Moscow.
Okay. So the guy that came, so 2014, Yanukovych runs off to Moscow. So the
Right.
Russian puppet runs away and we install somebody else.
That's
Yeah.
that's his worldview. Is that
Right.
we installed, whoever
Mhm.
replaced Yanukovych.
It wasn't the
So
comedian.
I
It
guess no,
wasn't.
Zelensky was only president in 2019. So we'll get into it because they're referring to this
Yeah, I have a.
specific
When's the
thing.
chart coming up? I'm getting confused already.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see when the chart comes up because I don't
Okay.
think it's time for the chart.
Sitch made an excellent chart for us.
I made an MS Paint chart
Right.
to explain the 2014
So for
thing
those of
because
us
it's
who
very
can't,
confusing.
for those of us who can't read very good,
Right.
he's got an explainer coming in.
Militarily motivated battalion incorporated into the National Guard, and they went east.
I really do think if you laid out some basics, though, it would help us discern which of this is nonsense and which isn't. So
Okay. Okay. I can do the chart now if you want.
yeah,
me to
lay out
sorry.
the basics here. What are
Okay,
we
I
looking
thought
at? What happened? We want
Jimmy
the
goes into it a
timeline.
little bit more. I'll give you. Okay.
We want the
Let me-
timeline, and then we want to affect how close they get to that timeline.
Okay.
Should
We share this.
Should I
Let
bring
me,
up your thing?
Yeah. Let me share.
People were
the
giving me a
screen
hard
little bit.
time because I left the tweet up, but I
Get
was
rid of
doing
that
that.
tweet.
I did it stylistically.
Yeah,
That's
for
part
sure
of the
he did.
show.
Sure he did. He wanted to leave it up for the whole show, and I was like, he's a sneaky one. Okay. My screen is being shared. You can all see
Yes.
like the million tabs I have open.
I
Okay.
took them out so we could see the
Okay.
thing.
Anyway, is it up?
It is. Look at this.
Okay. So this recent stuff starts 2012. Okay. Viktor Yanukovych, he's the current president of Ukraine 2012. He makes a deal with the EU to become like a EU affiliated country, which basically, they get favorable trade and other things. Like they're not joining the EU, but EU's doing good stuff. They're going to do stuff together, basically. That's what they're saying. Okay. For a year. Oh, but the EU says, they say, listen, Yanukovych, if you want to join our, United Federation of Planets, you got to clean up your act. You got some corruption going on in your country. We're going to give you a couple years to clean up your act. So they say, okay, we're going to go clean up your act.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, to be fair to Yanukovych, he was in favor of this EU deal.
Mm-hmm.
But then next year, 2013 rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
Putin comes in and they block all trade with the Ukraine.
Look at
Like,
that. He says,
all
fuck
trade
off.
with the Ukraine. Yeah. They just say, fuck you. It's in, it was in like November of 2013, I think, or October of 2013. They're just like, we're going to block all trade with you until you break off your deal with the EU.
Right.
Okay. So then what happens is Yanukovych goes to the EU and he's like, well, to offset the fact that Russia is blocking us from trade, can you loan us all this money? Can you loan us billions of dollars? And the EU is like, no, thank you. And then Russia says, hey,
nice
now that
country you got that.
Yeah. Now that we've burned your shop down, okay, we're willing to give you a premium. We'll give you a bunch of money and we'll give you cheap gas. And you don't have to change your country at all. We don't care if you're corrupt. You don't have to change you don't have to get rid of any corruption in your country whatsoever. So after Putin has weighed on the Ukraine and basically forced them into this financial position, Yanukovych capitulates and says, okay, we're not going to deal with the EU anymore. We're going to go back to being, stooges of Russia. This causes the Euromaidan protest. Massive protest, especially in the capital city of Kiev, erupt. When I say massive, I mean like 50 to 200,000 people protest. These are gigantic protests. And they're all super pissed that Ukraine is not going towards the EU and now they're going back to Russia in terms of being their stooge. Okay. And as you know, with these situations, these protests, they get more violent.
Mm-hmm.
You got, 50, 200,000 people living in the streets. Things become very chaotic and crazy. And these protests go on for months. This starts in November and it goes through till February of the next year.
Wow.
So violence is starting to break out. Things are starting to get crazy. And this is where the conspiracy theory comes in. And I think you'll see Jimmy talks about this. So when I looked into this claim that the U.S. had installed the puppet dictatorship or a puppet presidency in 2014, the primary source of information for this, the number one piece of information, they say this proves the U.S. is behind the 2014 coup, is a phone call that Russia leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Russia did?
Yes, that Russia leaked a phone call between the Assistant Secretary of State and the U.S. ambassador to the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is why this is why this chart was made, to explain this. Okay, but so wait, let me move this to the top. So all the protests getting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yanukovych, in order to try to quell the protesters in January, he reaches out to two politicians who are on the protester side, who the protesters kind of see as being like the heads of the movement.
Okay.
Right. And these people are currently in the parliament of the Ukraine. Right. And we have this guy, Arseny Yatsenyuk, or Yates,
Prime
and
Minister?
Vitaly Klitschko.
And Deputy Prime Minister. Okay.
Right. And Yanukovych, he offers to these guys, he says, listen, Yats, why don't you be the prime minister? I'll appoint you prime minister, and I'll appoint Klitschko deputy prime minister. And then, we together can work something out.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll give you guys representation in Congress.
Right.
So
the secret phone call, the one that proves the U.S. was behind this coup, is directly after Yanukovych announces that he's going to do this publicly.
Right.
Is the Secretary of State saying she wants this guy, Yats, to accept the fucking position that he's just been offered by Yanukovych.
Okay.
That's the conspiracy, Adam.
That's not really installing your guy, though.
I know.
Installing your guy, the phone call.
Bullshit.
Installing your guy would be more like a phone call where the secretary says, we don't like that guy. He's sympathetic to the protesters. We have this other guy that we would like you to install. Make that guy the prime minister, right?
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that. Because in the phone call, what the Assistant Secretary of State says is, she says she wants Yats to accept the position and become the prime minister. And she wants Klitschko to not accept the position.
Okay. Because they don't like that guy?
They don't like this guy.
Okay. But we don't know any of their motivation behind any of this stuff?
No.
Okay.
So to get this, so this is the 2014 conspiracy.
Does it play out that way or does it not?
Well, no, I am not. I'll tell you how it plays out in a second, because that's even funnier. Okay. So the America created the 2014 conspiracy's number one big piece of evidence is that the Assistant Secretary of State,
she likes this guy. She doesn't like this guy.
She wants the guy that the pro-Russian president wants to be prime minister. She agrees with the pro-Russian president and wants him to be prime minister.
But he's also the protesters guy too. That's the thing.
Yes. Yeah. This is how dumb this conspiracy is. Okay. So, and then, as you said, so what happens? What happens?
Yeah. He
turns it down. He says, no, fuck you, Yanukovych. I'm not going to be your prime minister.
That's hilarious. That's not. How's that the conspiracy? So the secretary doesn't even get what she hypothetically wants.
No, the Assistant Secretary of the United States, who wanted the same fucking thing that the pro-Russian president of the Ukraine wanted,
And
they
the
both
protesters.
didn't get-
And the protesters.
didn't get it.
Yeah. Okay.
They didn't get it because he said, no, I'm not going to be your prime minister.
So okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
you're probably asking, wait a minute, how is this
Yeah. So
work?
what happens?
Okay. So
I am
so
asking
you're-
that.
Right. So you're saying, okay, Sitch, how is this information warped into a conspiracy theory somehow
Mm-hmm.
that the U.S. was behind the 2014 coup? Well, I'll tell you how.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this is why you always got to look at the context, because there's a transcript of this call and there's audio of this call. You can listen to this on YouTube. And all it is this lady talking to this guy
Mhm.
and saying she likes this guy to be prime minister and she doesn't want this guy to be deputy prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only context you get from the phone call.
Oh, so you
So if
don't
you don't-
have the context.
Yeah. So if you don't understand that they're literally reacting to Yanukovych offering them these positions, you're
Right.
saying, "Oh my God, the U.S. is installing who they
Oh,
want to be
okay,
the
that's
prime minister,
bullshit, yeah.
deputy prime minister."
Yeah. The context
then-
is like he's also a pro uprising individual. He's like their guy.
Well, no, because they're saying no. That fits with the narrative because they're claiming that the protests were created by the US.
AstroTurf. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I
The,
gotcha.
the U.S. somehow
Obviously.
created 200,000 people protesting for 3 months at a time.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, right, and then this conspiracy
How
is
does
further
the US do that again?
right. The conspiracy is further confused by the timing too,
Mm-hmm.
especially as we get further away from the event. Because once Yanukovych flees the country
Mm-hmm.
and he is quote unquote impeached, which we'll talk about at some point later too, which is a whole nother issue. This guy does end up becoming the prime minister.
Right. Okay.
So they say, oh, see, well, the phone. So that people think that the phone call is relating to him becoming prime minister after
he
Yanukovych is
flees
actually
the
fled.
country. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
When it wasn't. The phone call was directly in response to Yanukovych offering him the position.
Right. Okay. And they've obviously stripped the context out of the phone call to make
Well,
this
there's
conspiracy
no
work.
context. There's no context in the phone call because they're talking about what's happening at the moment. Why they don't need to explain to each other the situation.
One question: who stripped the context out of the phone call? Was it Russia? Because Russia originally leaked the phone call.
Well, again, so it could be possible that Russia didn't play the full phone call, or it's possible that was the full phone call. Because if you and I, Adam,
Okay.
are talking
know.
about something that's currently happening, we don't have to. I don't have to explain
Yeah.
to you. Like when we're talking about the Ukraine-Russia situation on the phone the other day, I
Yeah.
didn't explain to you the history of the
No,
Ukraine-Russia
we did-
situation.
We avoided all that.
Right, exactly. So obviously, just a normal conversation is not going to have the context
Yeah,
because it's
you're right.
happening currently.
You're right. You're totally right.
So anyway, so
Is that so? We need a little more. That's all. We ran out of stuff here.
well, okay, but that's all. That's all you have to know for the U.S. backed the 2014 coup
Mhm.
bullshit
Right.
attempt.
So-
okay,
So this guy is the one that becomes president, and then
Well,
but where does the current president come in?
Zelensky comes in later. He doesn't become president until like 2019 or something.
Okay.
So